Welcome to the Tearing It Up podcast. I'm your host, Taryn. We'll be tearing it up, tearing it down, and tearing it apart, dissecting all things related to those who deviate from the standard. From leaders of their industry to leaders of mediocrity, and maybe a gear review or two thrown in. We shoot the shit and let the conversations flow, so if that's not your style, this may not be for you. Otherwise, listen in. Hope to light a fire in you somehow.
Recording.
I do love when we start with a laugh. You're like, because I feel like it's intriguing. Like, ooh, what were they talking about? We, miss our intro Zoom lady recording in progress. It's just like you sit there and watch this countdown. And it feels funny watching it, but welcome.
And also very official.
Yeah. Hello, everybody out there. We've got a TNA for you. This is sometime in June. I think it's the second week of June. Looking at I was thinking of maybe popping this one ahead, but I'm going to stick to what I told people, and this will be the second week of June that you're listening to us. So happy June. I hope it feels like spring still and going into summer and you're just feeling good, whatever you're feeling. It definitely feels summery already here. I've mentioned, I think, a couple times how spring just feels so fleeting. It's just such a feels like a short season because it gets hot everywhere so quickly. But yes. The flowers are just starting to bloom and such here. It's still very much spring, but summer is actually now just a couple weeks away. So okay, and I also want to talk about that really quick because you were not able to make it to the recording last week with Martina Bremer from Swift Industries. She's based up in the Seattle area with her. Swift Industries is a bike bag company. And all of you now, if you will have listened to her episode, hopefully, and heard about this, but I want to make another plug for it because I think it's so cool. And it's the Swift Industries Camp Out, which happens on the solstice. So, and I loved her point that she started calling it the June solstice instead of summer solstice, because this is like a global thing and not everywhere in the world is it summer on the June solstice. I was like, oh, mind blowing, right? When you think about that. But Amber, I know how much you love like solstice things and celebrating and stuff. So we're recording this and you haven't got the chance to listen to the episode yet. So you may not have heard about the Swift Camp Out that happens on the solstice, but it is just a global like bike camp out. People everywhere just go out and have their own little Swift campouts. But there's also some organized ones, like there's a couple I think happening up in Seattle. I believe the Swift one, which you might have to like RSVP for in some capacity. I'm not positive, but they're like going out to Vashon. And so, yeah, you can get on the website. It will try to remember to link it in the show notes for everyone so you can like look it up and see if there's a organized camp out around you. But if there's not, the whole point is just to get out on your bike and kind of go celebrate and just travel via bike. And
the longest day of the year.
Yeah,
for us Northern Hemisphere folks.
Right. My family will be in Tahoe that day. They arrive that day. So I don't think I'll be getting on my bike to go camp out just because I'll be, I'm sure, spending, every waking minute with them. And by that time, I'll be ready for bed and not camping out. But I'll, try to get on my bike or something in some capacity to celebrate a little bit. But yeah, for all you out there, just a reminder of that. If you can, get out there on your bike and go for a little camp out. Cause I'm, back in my fucking just wanting to be a bike packer, gravel biker person who still doesn't have a bike. But also I know I don't have to have a specific bike. I can use my bike, all that jazz. So I'm not bikeless. I can fucking make it work, but I still want my fucking gravel bike.
I feel like family time for you in Tahoe is just as special as celebrating the solstice or like doing an epic bike adventure. So you are just doing your own solstice adventure this year and in a fantastic way.
Absolutely. I mean, there is no way. There's also an event going on in Tahoe that week. They're here called TrailCon, and it's a trail running like festival, like so trail running like conference, I think is what it's short for, TrailCon. But it's I've heard about it and I was just like, not for me, because I fucking hate running and all that. But like, if I were to run, I would be a trail runner for sure. I've done it. I've gone trail running and I hate it because I'm just bad at it. I just can't. I can't run far. I mean, I get into a 190 heart rate like immediately, so it takes I very hard for me to find a pace. So it's one of those things that I would definitely have to explore by myself. I've tried going out with people and I just fucking I die. It's miserable. I hate it so much. So it has to be an individual thing for me. Anyways, I digress. I was like, yeah, this isn't for me because it's all about running. And I'm still obviously in the outdoor industry, but not working at a trail running specific store anymore. It feels like, well, I don't even have the value there to kind of see what's going on in the industry to be able to talk to customers. But upon perusing, I found it was free to attend. And I was like, wait, that's a fucking amazing, because a lot of these big industry events are not. And so I did register, and I'm definitely going to make a very like big attempt in showing up at least one of the days to check out the panels and vendors and get a little inside of that world and what's going on and meet cool people, because although running is not my strong suit or biggest passion, there's amazing athletes out there. And one of them is a kind of friend of mine who's local here to Tahoe, who I've mentioned to her several times, like, let's get you on the podcast. And we just haven't set up a date, but she's a lovely little gal. I love her. And yeah, so like I said, there's amazing humans in that community. I just like can't relate to talking about running and loving it like they do. So, and so many people in the outdoor industry are also runners, and even at every other trade show, and people are like, oh, going out for a run. I'm like, God, it's like, I feel like, you know how people used to feel left out when they didn't smoke cigarettes because people would go out on cigarette breaks together at work or something. And so if you were the non-smoker, it was like, oh, well, I'll just be here working while you all take your 18th cigarette break today, and you're talking all gossip and this and that. I feel that way in the outdoor industry, not being a runner. Like, I'll just be over here not running, but doing a lot of other activities.
I feel like I have met a lot of people in my life who have turned 40 and started doing like marathons and shit. So maybe you will be one of them peoples.
I've thought about that a lot, actually, because you do see a lot of women who are older. I fucking hate saying older when we're like in that
Midlife.
age bracket, right? But how about in the late 30s to like mid 40s, who are like top of their game in endurance sports. It is a time in the life, it seems to be the trend that for women, that time in your life, it is you're performing better in endurance sports. And I, can't remember fucking shit, so I can't be the one again to be trusted to reporting why this happens and what the specific things are that go on in a woman's body or hormones or things like that. But I know that there is an upward trend that women in that age bracket are better in those endurance endeavors. So yeah, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm just not going to be a runner until I'm like 40.
It really could be.
Go ahead.
I was going to say a lot of the endurance is mental. So there's a lot of things in life that I have learned in my later life. Like there's just things where you mentally mature later on in life.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sure that can be a big part of it, but there's also like with your hormones, even when you just think about breaking your cycle down, week by week. And I don't cycle sync my workouts. I just do whatever workout is, that is at the gym that day. But I do it by how my body feels. And also, not everyone truly believes all of this anyways, but cycle syncing and whatnot, and the purpose of it with training was that at certain hormone levels, you handle stressors in your body better, and one of those is endurance. So at a certain point in your cycle, you have your hormone levels are better for endurance efforts, and sometimes they're better for strength efforts. Sometimes, as we all know, they are like lay the fuck down. But that's why I'm always do listen to your fucking body. So I'll look a couple weeks ago, I was at the gym and I'm feeling like, dang, a little tired, and this feels kind of like weak and this and that. And I was like, oh, I'm getting pretty close to my period. This is probably the week that I'm going to be really laying off the weight and taking things a little bit slower. But a friend there challenged me. She was like, no, you're going to use this weight for the workout. I was like, I really don't know if I can this week. Like it might destroy me. But I was like, but what's the worst that can happen? I try it. And if I feel like absolute crap, I can choose a different weight, right? We have the fucking power. But I actually made it through this workout feeling really, really great and using that weight. So I was like, okay, first of all, let's put a little more trust in yourself again. And instead of getting intimidated and thinking like, oh no, I'm about to start my period, I can't do this. It's like, well, let's see how you feel, knowing you can always switch in the middle of a workout. And of course, this is something that I do know, but sometimes that block comes in before and I don't even like push it. And that kind of goes to with what you're saying of just that mental kind of like maturity. And I think just really overall trusting yourself. And obviously endurance sports are just not for everybody anyways, because it is a huge, huge mental thing. And it doesn't mean you're not mentally tough, but because you're mentally tough in a lot of other ways. And also when it comes to running, it's like, I don't have to go run an ultra marathon. I don't need to run 50 plus miles. I don't even need to run a marathon, but I would like to enjoy running 6 miles and going out and, doing like just a 3-miler out and back and not feel like I'm dead. But again, that does for me and my body take some training. And I remember years ago, like in my early 20s, doing the Sound to Narrows, which is a 12K up in Washington. And I think me and Shelly and Jesse Costello were all doing it. And, Jesse and I were soccer players, but Jesse and I were going on a run, like to train, for the 12K. And she was just like, dude, Taryn, we were not built to run. We're top heavy. And it just always like stuck with me. And I'm like, yeah, it's true. I mean, we weren't all built to do certain things. And though we played soccer, we were like better in spurts and not just running long distances. And not to mention for, as you know, Amber, too, just your boobs really can be annoying in some of these activities. It's like, it's not comfortable. I've been getting this woman who I follow from Canada, Nicole Marsh. She's like a curvy lifter, and she really prides herself on that. She's got a big follow, like she's kind of an influencer, I guess, but and her whole thing is that fitness comes in all shapes and sizes, right? Like I run, I lift, I do this and that, but she posted that her boobs changed so much after pregnancy, she gets chafing from her sports bras now that she never used to. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that didn't used to happen to me. And it's been happening in the last couple of years. And that fucking hurts, man.
God. Boobs, man. I think that, like, have you ever weighed yours?
No, I think about it all the time. I definitely, guesstimate with one hand. Like, this has got to be a few pounds for sure. And then, of course, they move and jiggle, and God.
And it's a huge weight on your chest. I have done it. You need a friend. Can I tell you how we did it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you do if you want to weigh your tits is you stand on scale. Well, you have a friend with you first. You stand on the scale, you take your weight, and then your friend lifts your boobs up to take that weight off, and then you subtract, you do the math, and bada boom, bada bang.
I mean,
tits are heavy.
But do you think that really works? Because the boobs are still on you. So
yes,
I guess it would give you, if you see them.
It's not 100% accurate, you know what I mean? But it's a great guesstimate, and I highly suggest doing it, because once you see that difference of weight, you're like, holy shit, that's just chest weight. Like, just freaking malleable chest weight that just moves around and has a whole entire life of its own and requires special equipment to hold it down and hold it back. And if you have really big ones, there's like, they just don't make a whole lot of bras that are for like bigger boobs, and it's just such an extra
Dude, it's so
thing.
fucking annoying. And so my
Yes.
idea of weighing them was always like with a food scale or something, like literally just popping it under there. Cause yeah, obviously there's gonna be no
Girl,
100% weigh. And I
gonna
think it's
need a
just a
big food
funny,
scale for anything bigger than a D cup, I think.
well, it's just a funny thing to do and note. And because especially if you're somebody who does put pressure on yourself for what that number on the scale is, because I think if you
Yes.
know that your boobs themselves are like 10 pounds or something, well,
Try
that,
15, man.
and you don't, that's something, we don't control where our weight goes when we gain it. So it's like, you just always assume that it's your belly or something like that if you gain 10 or 15 pounds. And I think it is important for us to realize that we store weight in different parts of our body. That's why using the scale as a measurement isn't always great, because also, hello, muscle weighs something. And so, we've said this a million times, but I, just being a wrestler and growing up with weight, it's something that's kind of ingrained in me as far as like I like to know, but I also don't put all of the uh no pun intended, but weight on the number of the scale. I definitely judge things more off of like how my pants feel, because I know if my weight says a certain number, well, again, it doesn't mean you gained fat. And it depends on when you weigh yourself and this, that, and the other. I just kind of recommend to people to not even use the scale. It doesn't matter. But that definitely sounds hypocritical as a person who like uses a scale and steps on it. But I think I have an okay relationship with that number, and not putting, like I said, all my eggs in that basket of the weight and the number is everything. It's kind of more of a curiosity thing. I also like to compare, like, wow, that's crazy. Like, these pants fit and I weigh the same. Or, it's like, oh, I'm a down a size, up a size, and I weigh the same. Like, that's interesting. It like proves
Yes.
the point that number doesn't fucking matter, and how you feel 100% is more of that. But one last thing I wanted, since you brought it up, and boobs needing their own equipment, it's like the most frustrating thing is trying to find fucking sports bras that are compressive and supportive when you have bigger boobs. And also, without going into too much of a rabbit hole, like being in the outdoor industry, and something we talk about a lot is sustainability. And obviously, we don't ask anyone to be perfect, because we're not perfect, and we buy things, when we cheaper things, less expensive things that maybe aren't the most sustainable all the time. Like, but we do what we can when we can, and that's all we expect of anybody. But what frustrates me is for fitness and workout clothes, like none of these companies they are the fast fashion clothes. The outdoor industry, they all pride themselves on sustainability, and sure, they make leggings and stuff, but I'm like, well, but I want like the short, bright, like shorts that people often associate with like CrossFit, like the
Yeah.
3-inch spandex inseam, and squat proof. Hello. So a lot of these other brands still aren't making stuff that I can do my functional fitness in. So it's fucking frustrating. Let alone, no one makes a goddamn swimsuit to hold these honkers in, or sports bra. So yeah, these are the times that I have to. It's about accessibility, and this isn't just about women and big boobs or plus sizes. It's like, this is the problem in the whole fucking world and country, is that people don't have accessibility to the things that are more sustainable. So it's obviously a huge conversation, but it just pisses me off. Like, yeah, I have to fucking buy this bra from this company because there is no one else who makes it. Because again, also the outdoor industry, like, the Andrea Kelly's out there doing the fucking work with Make Plus Equal, trying to bring the attention to brands and other people that there's not one body size to make it for. I would love to wear one of your tops, X outdoor brand, but I cannot. So, like, and what's a girl to fucking do?
Yeah, you get pushed between a rock and a hard spot. Also, not to mention with having gigantic boobs and running,
Yeah.
these things sit on top of your chest, which is where your lungs are, which is the band goes around your rib cage, which is where your lungs are. So it makes it even harder to breathe because you have this extra weight and this extra material and this extra thing that you absolutely need to keep these hunkers in place. Man, it's a lot managing a pair of gigantic titties. I tell you what.
It sure the heck is. It fucking is. And I mean, because all these things come into play. It's like also we gain weight there and don't know, and but all these things come into like this fight against me and my pursuit of running.
Yeah, or like this fight against your body that just genetically does all these things that you cannot control.
Yeah. So any ladies out there dealing with the fucking big boob dilemmas, God, we hear you. And I did write a blog, like I think probably a couple years ago now, but a review on sports bras. So check it out if you want some opinions. I know one of my favorites was Betts Fit, who's actually a local gal here in Tahoe, Catherine Betts, who has a studio now in Truckee called The Shire. A studio gym situation. But yeah, even her, like I sized out of the bras that she was making, very small company. So she was going up to F, and I'm like, these fucking babies are a 38G now. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I would like those to go down.
Your friend to help you weigh your boobs, just because I'm curious now.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's insane. It's crazy, and I hate it. And but yeah, I am like, it does make it hard to breathe sometimes. Like my back hurts so bad from bras at times. Like I just gotta take this thing off, and then I have to lay down. Like I need to lay on my back, flat on my back, because I'm just like, even when you take the bra off, they're just hanging more, but you don't have the compression or something of a bra that is just like, there's no reprieve.
Oh my God, I'm like laughing, but really just crying internally.
Yeah, totally. But anyways, so that's our intro, guys. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the Big Titty Podcast.
Yeah, totally.
Also, I must say that my friend who was my assistant with weighing my titties is Sally, who has bigger honkers than anyone I have ever seen in my entire life. And I just commend her for like fully embracing her body. And also making 2 children and the boobs changing the way that they are. And she really does go on hunts for bras and really finds good quality products that have good materials, small business owners, and like to find anything, period, for her gigantic, beautiful titties to fit into. I'm just like, kudos to you. Because I have, like, I don't even know what size they are. Like, they're bigger than yours. They're bigger than mine.
100%. They're like not even on the alphabet. They're huge.
No, they're not. They're like, it's insane.
They are the alphabet.
They are the alphabet. Yes. Bless Sally's titties. They will be feeding her second child here very soon. And man, just like the fluctuation that they have gone through pregnancy, we can go on and on.
Yeah.
We can go on and on.
I would love for you to, next time you see her or text her or something, and get a list of Sally approved boob stuff. Boob support, whatever it is. Swimsuits, bras of all kinds. I would just love to hear her favorites, because those, to anything that can support Sally's tits are reputable.
Yes, I got you.
So that would be awesome. But all right, I do want to tell you all about the little, I keep saying little retreat, and I feel like that's not nice, and I get it downplays it or something, but I went on this retreat that I told you all about a few weeks ago. And, I was feeling like all guilty with doing something that costs money, and where it was a mix of business and pleasure, honestly. But it was so incredible. And I just think Em and Holly, my friends who put this all together, did like the most amazing job. Obviously, they're the ones who put it on, and I'm sure they see the little things or like, oh, we could have done this or that better or smoother, whatever. But from my perspective, I'm like, fucking chef's kiss. You guys nailed this, and it was incredible for their first ever retreat that they put on. So it is called Coming Home, or home. Their Instagram handle's Coming Home. I think Home Retreats and Workshops is their like business name, and it's spelled HOEM because it is the first two letters of their names together. So Holly and Em, a couple of best friends here in Truckee. Em she did the podcast Artwork the Mountain and the Jane artwork. Holly is an amazing photographer. She does a ton of weddings, and they have an amazing friendship. And they brought together this small group of women. A couple flew out from Miami. There was a couple from the East Bay, and then most were more local to the Tahoe area, a little bit east or a little bit north and south of Truckee. But everyone was so wonderful, and I think it was again like the perfect blend of some business and pleasure, because we learned some things. We did a photography workshop, a branding workshop. There was yoga by a friend of mine, Kelly, here in Tahoe, who's just an amazing teacher. I love her so much. So it was amazing that she happened to be the teacher. I'm like, oh, yes, I just felt like so connected to everybody. And, I didn't have a lot of clarity business wise going in of like what my purpose, I guess, would be business wise. And that's also why I felt guilt going into it. I don't have I'm like, what am I hoping to get out of this? I don't know. Because I didn't know what to expect. But I guess that's why I was going, was like, I'm looking for some clarity.
Yes.
And I do feel like I got a bit of it. I did not walk away with, like a whole new business plan or anything like that. But I do feel like it allowed some fog to lift and just to feel a lot more aligned, I guess, with myself, because I had the time and it was off grid. There's like, there was a connection here and there for service, but I mostly had zero service, and the Wi-Fi was like someone else's Starlink that I hopped on the first day to make sure I got this important like work task done and completed and could fully turn off. So Wednesday though, zero service, and my God, I didn't touch my phone. Like there's people taking photographs there. A lot of the gals, were snapping photos, and Holly, being a photographer, was taking a bunch of photos. And I knew we were going to have like this shared album at the end that I just, there's times, and that's why a lot of us have our phones too. We're always taking photos, and I love it, but I also hate it because, yeah, it does take you away from the moment. But even just for 24 hours, it felt fucking good to not pull it out, because when you pull it out to take a photo, you're tempted to, your thumb just wanders, right? It goes to other apps or checks this. And even when I put it on any kind of do not disturb and focus mode, and I don't have any badges or notifications, I still go hit that text box and see like, oh, well, shit, there's 5, unread texts or whatever. And there's 100 emails. Yeah. And I was like, most of them were junk, but still I'm like, oh God. So it can just really take me away. So for me, not having it at all, even just for that 24-hour period, was just so fucking amazing. I'm like, I need more of this. And, people talk about it a lot. I'm not discovering anything new of how important it is to disconnect, but I just know how hard it is to truly disconnect, because our phone is always in reach. It is that easy to just hit the app and see what notifications you have, whether you're on do not disturb or not. Like, you literally can't have service or need to be removed from it this day and age to disconnect, in my opinion, at least for me.
Yes. And I was going to say, not to mention with all the hats that you wear, my friend, like everything you do for your work, for the podcast, requires you to be connected.
Yeah.
And you can't take those times off. So I am just like peeing my pants with happiness for you that you were able to have just 24 hours. Like you said, like that's all it takes for you to be like, oh my God, the trees are green and the sky. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it just, you have to do that to become grounded these days. And like all last week, I didn't have Instagram on my phone and now I have it back on my phone and I'm like, just like, and I'm like, how the fuck do you balance it? I don't even think that there is a balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really think so either, because I feel like you're in it or you're not. And like I said, I'm involved in social medias for work, so I can't just not be on the app. And everyone finds their own line and boundaries and such, and I've done a great job about that in the last year for sure, of setting them and having them and whatnot.
Bravo,
But still, it's even having boundaries is not the same as being able to completely disconnect. But it was amazing. And of course, like, I started my period like the day before the retreat. I don't know that I'm not putting it all on that, but I just knew that I would probably be extra emotional because of that. So of course I could like fucking cry now thinking about it, but I did cry during yoga. We were doing and talking these it wasn't like during the practice that cried, but we went around. Kelly had asked us some questions and everyone's going around and answering and sharing and whatnot. So when it got to me, like, I cried, but obviously everyone's there super supportive. And it was really special too for me to have M there, because M and I are not like incredibly close or anything. I'd say we've been friends at I don't know, like, not a distance. Like, I don't know how the word is to explain it. Like, more than
like,
acquaintances, because I would definitely call, but like we haven't hung out a lot outside of doing projects and things together. But I've always, like, since I met her, fucking loved her. You know, like I felt like we could
connection.
definitely like be friends, but we are both have our own circles and things, and haven't reached out and really made the one-on-one like connection. We went and biked a few weeks ago, and that was amazing, to finally do something like that outside of, like I said, running into each other project. But she's still, I feel like, in the terms, I guess, how you might certain people might describe as a friendship, it would be more like acquaintances. But to me, I always call her a friend. It's like one of those where like, I say this is my friend M, blah, 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 but I'm like, but she could definitely just be saying, oh, this girl Taryn, or acquaintance or something, when you feel unsure, like, you're like, how do I describe this person? Because we don't hang out all the time or something, but I'm like, no, she definitely feels like a friend to me. And is, but there's just still levels of friendships where you haven't passed certain boundaries or whatever. Anyways, I'm rambling. Point is, I was super special to have her there. I mean, she is the reason that I wanted to do this. I knew anything that she does, I feel like, is just so meaningful and purposeful that I was like, I have to go to this retreat, because if M is doing this, I just know it's going to be great. And so her being at the yoga class too, and hearing what I was saying and being there for support, because when we biked together, we connected on the fact that neither of us really go out and bike with other people right now because of our own insecurities with what we can do, what our fitness is. And even though we also know we're like great badass at the downhill, there's just reasons that we like to keep it our own kind of thing at this time in our lives. And the story goes, I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but I had asked her to go bike that morning as we were meeting later that afternoon for a meeting for the outdoor advocacy panel we put together. I was like, okay, I have to ask her now. otherwise I won't, and to see if she wants to ride afterwards. And as soon as I send the text, I'm like, God, I hope she says no. And when she responded to the text, she said like, yes, whatever. And as we're at the trailhead, she's talking. She's like, I was trying to think of every excuse I could of like, why I couldn't go. And she's like, but what am I doing? Like, this is my friend. Like, yeah, I'm going to go. And it was just so funny that we were both on that, like, okay, really out of our comfort zone, but saying no to somebody that we know we can be totally ourselves with. Like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this to ourselves?
Yes.
Like, this is something we
Yes.
love. And so what I was talking about in that yoga class was kind of related to those situations. So it just felt really special to have her there, because I think she knew how I felt. And I think opening up around strangers about it too is like, yeah, some other woman was like, thank you for being so vulnerable. Like, that was amazing. Like, you really, like, I'm trying to be more vulnerable, and what, like, by you sharing, like, really showed me kind of like that it's okay, and helped me. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. But yeah.
And also in your head, you're like, cool, but I just like broke down and cried in front of everyone. You know what I mean? Like, but it's so important to do that, because it does show that you are a real human being,
Yeah, and I think, I did a post kind of recently about it too. It was a reel, so I don't know if everyone read the caption, and I do feel like I talk about it here often. And on my way home to record this today, I have these conflicting thoughts where it's like, I at times start to feel like I am showing a little too much vulnerability, where people might not think I'm capable of certain things, and treat me like I, am a baby biker, or I don't know this, like, oh, just take your time and do this. Like, look, I'm a fucking athlete. And also personal, like, I know what to do. I just know that I also have insecurities and things stopping me, and it's a lot of mental hurdles that I have to talk myself through. And yeah, I let those mental hurdles stop me sometimes, but I also know that that's just what happens in life. Sometimes you do let those things stop you, and it's a serious battle in my head where I'm like the angel and the devil on your shoulders, where I'm like, I know I'm doing this because I'm like I know I'm talking myself out of, but I'm gonna let myself today or something. Like, it's a mental battle all the time of like, I know when I'm giving into the not good things. But yeah, it's like, man, am I being too vulnerable now? People are thinking that I am weaker at this certain level or this or that, but also like, who fucking cares what people think?
Yeah.
Like, where that conversation in my head was leading me was like, I really need to stop repeating this narrative and talking about it, because I feel like it is holding me back. But at the same time, it's like, I want to share with people what goes on, because I think it's important that people know you may
are not alone.
Yeah, and you also may exude confidence or strength, not saying that I do, but like, I fight these same things over and over, and it is like, yeah, a lot for me to get out there and do it. And at times and certain things, yeah, I am doing more solo because I'm not fucking happy with where my fitness is. And it's not, and I don't even think saying fitness is the right word, because it's like, I still am fit and strong, but I'm just not happy with where things are. And it's frustrating, as you all know, I've heard as a broken record, that it's like, why is this fucking happening? But I'm trying to let go of it a little, because it's just like, it is what it is. Just try to take all that shit off and just do, and don't worry. Just try to have fun instead of worry about like what the pace is.
Easier said than done. 100%. Also, both things can exist at the same time. You can also be an athlete and struggle and have these insecurities, but you're still doing it. And another thing is, where does this come from? You know what I mean? Because like, you only have your own capabilities, your own history to pseudo compare your skill level to. So where is this, oh, I'm slower than X, Y, you know what I mean? Like, where is this coming from? And why is there a need to bust ass uphill. Like, I love, you and I are opposites, right? I will do the uphill all fucking day, right? Like, I love it. I don't know what the fuck it is, but I will do it. But when it comes to the downhill, I am squeezing my brakes for like a lot. I hate it. It scares me, but I do it and I love it. So it's just that all of this can exist in us at once. And the narrative can continue. The broken record can continue because we are fucking human, my dude.
Yeah.
And, the real ones who ride with you, hi, me. they get it. You know what I mean? We just meet each other where we are at. And I don't know if there's ever going to be a point in my cycling career, my fitness career where I'm like, oh, I'm in the best shape of my life. You know what I mean? Because I'm just going to continue to do what I do because I know that it is good for me. And it just brings me so much joy. It's just pure joy. And if Joe Blow wants to be like, I'm fucking huffing it uphill and I'm king of the mountain at the fence, blah, 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 blah. That whole egotistical fucking bullshit can go suck my fucking dick is what I have to say. So if it's the other people that are making you feel this way, fuck them all to hell. And I think you should really sit with yourself and be like, but why do I you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And it is just straight comparison to myself and things that I could do. But recently too, I've thought well, this is the strongest I've ever been. But then I talked myself out of it because I'm well, I was probably stronger at this time, but I wasn't actually testing and lifting heavy. So I don't even know but it's again, well, I didn't know. So right now, what I know is the strongest I've ever been. But yeah, I'm not biking uphill at the same pace. But I've also said too, I've always been slower uphill. So I have to remind myself that as well as really, what is the difference? Is there that much of a difference in what I was doing versus what I am doing now? And also being honest with life changes. For one, obviously our bodies as women change and things, you do go through phases where, things might be harder from different hormone levels and things that are happening in life. But the reality is I do sit way more than I ever did, 2-3 years ago since I started working from home because every job I've ever had has been on my feet. So
your feet, yep.
While I don't think it's much standing in a store for 8 hours, I was still going to the gym and then on my feet for 8 hours and then, doing whatever. So it does make a huge difference. And
yes.
an
astronomical difference, I would say.
I keep thinking oh, there's not that much difference in my life. I'm still active and, my diet hasn't changed that much. But when I'm only able to make it to, say yesterday, I went to the gym, did a workout, but then I was sitting all day. And it's that is definitely not the same as when I would work out and then go to the store for 8 hours. Or not to mention when I was personal training and teaching paddleboard classes and all that, the amount of shit I lugged around all day, always fucking moving. I mean, that's why I died for a year because I was so physically and mentally exhausted from all of that. But yeah, so it does take a lot more effort and I think that, it could take pressure off of myself when I really sit and think about those, which I'm kind of actively doing in this moment, that I didn't have to try as hard at that certain time because my life was just much more. And I think momentum. I hate admitting that I'm not as active because it was more passive activity. That's just what I was doing. That's what I was doing for work. And so I feel like I'm still making the active activity choices and I'm not realizing how less passive activity is in my life. And so it hurts to kind of realize that, I guess. And then it makes it that much harder. I didn't have to go seek out a 3 to 5 mile walk for 10,000 steps because I was just getting it in my day. So it's harder to fit in now. And I'm well, I still have to work 8 hours plus try to go on an hour plus walk or hike. that adds more to your fucking day. And that's hard to do. So it's like, yeah, I do miss like just being on my feet for work where I didn't have to go try and fucking get steps in. So yeah, just kind of being honest with those real life changes and not having to be negative about it. Like, it is what it is. I also have so much more freedom in my day to day because of what my job is. So it's like I have to look at all those spectrums and stop just worrying about all of this just for what my uphill pace is. You know, I'm killing myself
And also,
mentally, like, for this.
totally. And not to mention the things that just happened in our bodies biologically. Like, we're getting older, our bone density is like not going in the uphill trend. Our metabolism is slower. I am definitely not as the same weight as I used to be a few years ago. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's just
Energy
so many
levels, like,
energy levels. There's just so many factors that just like add on that you don't even notice. And
yeah,
it just is a way of life, and it just is. We
it is.
just
And it's,
are.
again, you know, a lot of the things we say, especially when we go off on these topics, are repeating. But one, not everyone has heard all the episodes. And two, it is
Yeah.
those things that the reason we're repeating them is because, well, they're self-reminders too. And we know how easy it is to be out of sight, out of mind, and to go back into those slumps, and how often we do need these reminders to give ourselves some grace, because we definitely don't, as especially which I think all of you are, like, strong, independent women. We're not giving ourselves grace, but we're walking through this world like we can do it all, and we can do it all on our own. And beating ourselves up inside when we can't, or something, or when something is not going the way that we hope or wish it would, because we put so much freaking pressure on ourselves to be successful, to reach these goals, to whatever. But man, strong, independent women also need to cry and have another group of women like rub their back while they're doing it, while goats are walking around doing yoga. So so yoga was amazing, and the whole retreat in general, like I said, because it allowed me the time to really shut off. And can't enforce this enough, from my experience, how much of a perfect blend it was between business and personal. And it is for like women entrepreneurs. And I'm sure you don't have to have your own business or whatever, maybe it's something you're thinking about, but being that all these women here were entrepreneurs, or had their own business, or had a side project they were trying to make full-time, whatever it was, you are so invested in it personally that sometimes, I don't think there's a way to fully disconnect, and I don't think you need to. I think you do need to be able to, like, have a personal and have a work, but I think no matter what, it's part of it is going to live in you. So when you are taking that personal space, then that just helps flourish your
Oh my gosh.
business. And so it was like, it though I felt things so personally that it bled into my business, because I am what I'm trying to build. I'm a huge piece of what I'm trying to build. So if I am in alignment, then again, that just like filters off into the other parts and can help me align everything else. So it was perfect and amazing for me. And the other thing in yoga that we brought up, I can't remember exactly what the question was, but I know what my answer was. A lot of people were saying, like, saying no and putting up boundaries and stuff, which I get, but I think I've been practicing a little bit better. So mine was the opposite, where I'm trying to actually say yes more to things, like go on the group ride, or if someone asks me to do something, like, and it's not a friend I know very well, and I'm like, oh god, I don't know if I want to go do an activity with them because I don't know if I can keep up, blah blah blah, like, just say yes, just fucking say yes, because they didn't ask me to, like, race. They asked me because they enjoy my company. So yeah, saying yes to more things like that, especially when it comes to being outside and doing things and not working, because all I do is say yes to, like, more opportunity to work, and that's just exhausting. And it comes from a scarcity place to say yes to work, because I just feel like I can't turn down any opportunity to make money, because I'm afraid that if I do, then I, won't have it. So like saying yes to work opportunities often is out of scarcity instead of abundance. And so saying yes to someone doing an activity outside, I need more of that. So that should come from the place of abundance and offering me like more of what I need and what my soul needs. So I met some really great people there, and I'm really excited that there's a handful of them that are local here, and some like new friends. So that was amazing. And then last thing, I bought some citrine crystals from the little shop there. So okay, also amazing, beautiful place that I've wanted to check out. I've seen from Em and Holly, because they have done stays there and did photo shoots there. It's called Consolation Creek, and it's off Highway 89, just outside of Truckee, like 30 minutes from Truckee. It's on this lovely little creek, and there's these little cabins, and so each cabin is a little bit different. Some are like solo cabins. My cabin was the biggest, where it had one queen, like one room with a queen bed, and then another room with a queen and some bunks, so it could sleep 6 people or something. So I don't know how many cabins total, maybe 6. Anyways, beautiful, lovely place. There's goats, a lovely doodle dog, and the owners are just amazing as well. So super excited to finally get to go see Consolation Creek, because I'm always looking at, I follow their Instagram, and I'm like, God, it'd be so nice to go stay there. So it was amazing that it was there in this beautiful environment. And so they have a little gift shop, and she had crystals, and I'm not against them. I've just never like bought any. I've had amethyst, a lot of amethyst growing up, because my dad actually worked in this he was working out of town on a dam at one time, and him and his buddy who were working there, they had their campers posted up in their friend's property, and it was up by had to be close to Mount Rainier.
Alder Lake Dam.
I don't know. I can't remember now. It was in Morton, Washington. So maybe so that side. And anyways, he had a crystal shop, and so like we always got, I don't know where all my shit is, but I remember like watching him polish rocks and do all these things and stuff like that when I was a kid. But yeah, I didn't have the like woo-woo connection to them. I mean, I thought they were really cool. I was obsessed with rocks. My dad still brings me rocks home when he camps, like goes hunting to this day. He's like, oh, I found this rock. I'm like, it's gray. Because I collected just plain gray rocks, like nothing special. Anyways, I was like, this is my time. I feel like I am going to purchase a crystal. So maybe it was before that I just collected things that I never was like, oh, I'm going to like buying it, kind of felt weird. But I've been drawn to citrine since my friend gave me a citrine necklace, and it was about like abundance and wealth and this and that. And she gave one to me for watching her bunnies one time. And that's when I learned about citrine. And then I bought a ring from Becca that had a citrine crystal in it. And so, yeah, she had these crystals, and I was like, you know what? This weekend, or it wasn't even a weekend, it was midweek. It's about welcoming some more abundance and thinking of success and building success and welcoming it and like into my life. So I'm gonna buy a few, and I bought 3, and I put one in my purse, like in the pocket where I always keep my cash, and then the other one is just a floater. But the first one I grabbed, I like can't let go of, and that's how I knew I was gonna keep it, because I keep like the way it fits in my hand.
Oh, dude, that's a power rock right there.
Perfect, like the angle, and I'm like, and it's ambidextrous, so
yes,
it fits in. It fits in both hands perfectly, and I've put it in my bra a couple times. Andrew and I went out to dinner Saturday, and I was we were talking about something, and I was like, oh yeah, like we're welcoming wealth. And I was like, watch and look. And I reach in my dress at this restaurant at the bar and pull this crystal out of my bra, and he just starts dying laughing. He's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah, like we're in it, bud. Like we are like manifesting the things we want, and we're not gonna be afraid to say it. Like it's coming for us.
Yes, bitch. Yes.
Carrying it around in my bra as much as I can, but I'm so afraid I'm going to lose it for that reason. So,
I mean, those titties got power, though.
Totally. So I was like making this backpacking program for alpinistas, and I had it in my bra whilst doing it because I'm like, hey, this is work right now. I am welcoming whatever else this might bring in this
Yes.
realm. Maybe it's more fitness programs. I don't know, but it's going to be here and it's going to live here. And so I've been putting it also on my table desk here, and I can't not hold it if it's in front of me unless I'm like typing. So it just keeps making its way into my hand, and I'm like, wow,
Bro,
I've
that's a real
fully
power stone right there.
yes, I've gone down the rabbit hole in that. I'm like, I am
That's
a
okay.
crystal gal now. Like, I
Yeah,
can't
that's
let go of
fine.
this fucking rock.
I'm here for the woo woo.
I love it so much. I like rub my face on it. Just like I brought it home. I took
I
it for a
kiss
walk
it.
on Friday. I like went out to my favorite lookout spot of the property where you can see everything and see Donner Lake, and I was like holding it in my palm, and I definitely took pictures of it, but I was also showing it its new home.
Does it have a name yet?
No, it's just my love. But yeah, I was
I
like, this
love
is
that.
your home now. This is where you will bring the abundance and wealth. Like, we live
Yes,
here.
bitch.
This is it. So do your magic.
Yep. I love it so much. Here for the woo
So
woo.
to wrap it up, guys, it was an amazing 2-ish days. We got there Tuesday evening, had all day Wednesday, left Thursday morning. I said yes to the hike afterwards and went up to this alpine lake and took a dip, and it was amazing and all that. But they are doing another retreat in October. So I just want people to know, and obviously you don't have to be in the area. It's a great reason to travel, but it's in Mendocino. And I've never been there, and this place also sounds magical. It's a place that Holly and Emma have done, and Holly's done, I think, some photography there called Heartwood, Mendocino. So you guys should all look it up and check it out. But it's going to be 4 days, so one extra day added, which I think is incredible and much needed for 2 full days of disconnection. But on the coast of California, and so, of course, I want to go. I'm like, well, it's going to be a little different. They're going to add different things to it. And I need the fucking water. So,
Yeah.
obviously, it's on
Ocean
my
breeze.
list to do with them again in October. And it should be on your list out there too, people, because it just, I don't think y'all have to leave feeling yoga retreaty epiphany like or anything, but it does just bring you a little bit of peace and maybe some clarity into your business as well. So I'm just so happy, and it feels weird to say proud of someone that's not like,
Your
I don't
niece or
know.
nephew?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, not your
Yeah.
child or like your good friend who you've seen like rise from the ashes or something, but like I am just so proud of these 2 women for doing their thing. Em brought up retreats. I don't even know when we talked about it in person at one point. The conversation came up because I was kind of telling her what my idea of retreats were like more adventure trips. Like, no, let's go fucking slam some beers and go biking and get dirty and bloody. And sure, we could do some yoga, but like, it's not about finding inner peace. It's just about having it. It's more bachelorette party vibe or something, for the people
Yeah.
who don't have a group of friends to go shred with or can't find the time, your schedules just don't match up and you need to get out and adventure with some other badass ladies. And she mentioned to me at that time, like, yeah, that her and her friend Holly had dreams of like a retreat thing too. And so it's so cool to see what had finally come to fruition for them. And it's, just so valuable. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially to disconnect and to disconnect in a space of connecting. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because you're disconnecting with other people, but also connecting with yourself
Yeah.
around other people, which is it's so good. It is so important
It is. And
because
I think that,
you see yourself from strangers' eyes too.
mhm,
You know what I mean? Like that
yeah.
person who was like, "I am so proud of you for being vulnerable." You know what I mean? Like this
Hmm.
was the first time that they met you, so
Hmm.
they are seeing you in this light for the first time when you are just being you in
Yeah.
the shit and
Yeah.
then disconnecting. And it sounds absolutely incredible. And I'm so proud of you for taking the time to do this.
Thank you.
It's so important. It's so important. I think at least once a month we should try to like disconnect.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like a day. And that obviously can just be in your
Day
own
to day.
zone. Yeah. But like,
Yeah.
so I mentioned I brought my old camera there, like I said I was going to. But that was just at first, the intention was to relearn how to use it, kind of to be able to take better photos than just on my iPhone, even though they're crazy these days and can take good ones. And then when I was there, I was like, actually, I want to reconnect with this piece of technology because I do want to have the photos and the memories of certain things, but I just don't want to have my phone.
Yes.
So even if it's backpacking or hiking or something, and I can just keep my phone in my backpack and not have to reach for it and can have the camera right there to take the photos, like that was an epiphany for me really of why I want to bring that back out, and not just to try to become a photographer or anything, not that that was ever the dream, but to
Bring it back
actually,
to the old school.
yeah, to kind of ground a little bit, like I said, not have to have everything on my phone, and not get tempted to pull it out, and mid hike you see a message from someone that pisses you the fuck off and your mood's changed and ruined, because I know that that's how things affect me. I know that about
Pulls you back
myself.
in.
That's why I have to put these focus modes on and close apps, but I also know I have a wandering thumb and I can check, and that just can put a damper. So if I'm able to go out on a hike and get the photos and things that I want, without ever even being tempted to look at my phone, like that's great. So yeah, all in all, absolutely amazing. I do think that I actually made some real connections with people that can be friends for a very long time. So that's always awesome too. And I don't always think that's gonna happen for me in those environments, but I think it did. And I think it's also because I had zero expectations, so that's helpful. But again, you
Oh
guys
my
should
gosh.
follow them, Coming Home,
Yeah.
HOEM, and really look for the October retreat. I told Hillary, like, you should fucking do this, because I feel like with what she's trying to do with her cocktail business, that it
Yes.
could be really valuable for her to just have these moments of clarity and connection with herself, and like put herself, I don't know, just start to really trust your worth,
Yeah.
and value in things. And I think that's what it helped me with. So I just can't say enough good things about it and about and Holly. So yeah, still like kind of riding the high from it, I guess.
Also trusting the process.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because like we are in the age of like coming to midlife.
Hmm.
And I feel like there's been times in my life where I'm like, oh, I got through my 20s and that was great. And you can look back on it and reflect. We have so many more years of life ahead of us. And whatever we are going through right now is just a part of the process. And by the time we get to 80, we can look back at this and be like, oh, yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah.
We'll have our bigger picture. And just right now, we're still, life is still unwritten.
Oh my god, yes. Oh, I love that.
Oh.
Oh man, I feel like there was other things I wanted to talk about. And I know we're kind of getting to that a little over an hour here, so some of y'all may be getting the itch. But Amber, if you want to kind of, we teased a little bit the independent woman thing. I know you're out there doing shit at your, I don't know what, you also really want to share on air, but like you're helping out with your partner's backyard and how that's like made you feel, and just like kind of where you are in
Yeah.
life. Because I know that you're very much in the thick of things, obviously being a mom and still navigating, as you will be, like co-parenting and stuff. So but you were pulling some independent woman moves, impressing old
Oh, girl.
Sam there.
Mhm. Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things happening, a lot of good, lots of good, and just been really trying to be so grateful for the little things like having hands that work or like a digestive system that is doing what it's supposed to do. But yeah, a lot of things are happening. I'm going to be moving in with my partner here soon. So going to be starting to work on womanizing his cute bachelor pad. Um, and yeah, closing out the chapter of the home that I'm currently living in with my roommate. It has been such an amazing, healing, sacred space that we have created. And so it's hard to end that, but also so very exciting to start this new chapter with an extremely supportive and incredible partner. I just like I we my partner and I are just constantly like, how lucky are we that we meet each other on so many projects, on so many levels, on cleanliness, on cooking dinner, on goals and trajectories and just what we see for our future. It's just wild coming from a relationship where that wasn't even a conversation. We were just going down our own separate paths and like not even knowing it and not even like being able to fathom talking about a 5-year plan. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to living in a home with a partner who meets my energy and my goals and on so many levels. It's just like it's wild to me. It is
I
absolutely
love
wild.
it.
Yeah.
I am so happy for you in that, in finding someone that, yeah, you can have these conversations with and relate to on these
Yes.
levels that maybe at one point you didn't even realize were
An
missing,
option.
or
Yes.
yeah, and like maybe knew on a certain level that like sure, I wish I had this or someone like that, but then when you find, sometimes you find what was missing then you didn't know, like, so that it was totally missing and
Yes.
you're just like, oh my god, this is
Bro.
what was missing, where it's like, that's
It's
crazy that
amazing.
that's what I was doing in life, and this is what was out there waiting for me, because you were brave enough to make
Dude.
take the chance, make the leap,
Yeah.
make the change that you
Yep.
felt you needed but was very very scary to make. So I
Oh,
think that's a great lesson
terrifying.
in like, it is very very scary to make these changes and take these jumps sometimes, but we have to know like the net will
You're
be
doing it
there.
for a reason. Like there's a
Yeah.
reason why. And like I'm still I feel like in the like scary
Hmm.
bits of it, but it's getting less scary and more secure and more aligned with what I've wanted, needed, didn't know it was missing, like put it in that box. I just
Yeah.
like it absolutely blows my mind. And another thing that is happening is all the unpacking from what I was experiencing and the insane like mental load stress that it put me under that I just was operating
Hmm.
on and had no idea.
Yeah.
But it just like there's just so many things in life where it's like it doesn't have to be this hard. You
Yeah.
know, like there's so many paths in life and you can take the easier ones. It doesn't make you less of a human. It doesn't make you a weaker person. It makes you who the fuck you are.
Hmm.
And doing the scary changes, the person you become on the other side is just whew, I'm getting goosebumps right now just talking and thinking about it. It's it's unreal. It's
Well,
absolutely unreal.
it's got to feel good to start seeing that other side, because you're still in the scary parts, but I think
Yeah.
honestly anyone who's a parent like I think there's a lot more scary things for a longer time because you are thinking about this child also in your choices. It's not just you that you're making these choices for. So there's just I guess another layer of scary when you're a parent, I would imagine. And that doesn't take away from anyone who's not a parent that life can be just as fucking scary for you, because it's your perspective. What's happening to you is what's happening to you. So there's no it's scarier or less scary, but just another layer that you're thinking about. And I also do really think that you just, when the time is right, things will happen. I don't think that
Million.
there's obviously situations where they're bad that people need to get out of and leave, I think, sooner than they do. But I think for a lot of us, it's
on our own timeline.
Yeah, it's on our own timeline, and you don't have to look back at it. I think a lot of times when we make these changes, then you think back and you're like, oh, wasted time. I wasted all this time
Or
doing this or
how
that.
did
But
I
it's like, but
stay
you
so
had to,
long?
yeah, and you had to go through that to
Yep.
really get to where you will be and where it will
Million.
take you. And there's things that I need to remember in my life about that, because I tend to think that way of like, no, I'm not going to give up because that's just wasted time. But it's like, no, there's learnings along the way. But yeah, it's certainly hard to think that way and to not know when to throw the towel in because you think that way. Like, I'm not ready to give up. I've wasted time, whatever. But also on the other side of that coin is like, if you're not ready to give up, you're not ready to give up, and it's for a reason. And like I said, not the situations where there's actual fucking like danger or something involved, that it's just you're not fully ready to like quit that job. Like,
No.
that's okay once you get to the point, like I said, well, if it's really not
No.
ruining your life or something, but you just feel it in your bones, like,
Yep.
yeah, it just
Listen to it, sit with
yeah.
it. And I mean, I don't know how long I was with my ex and complained and said I was going to leave and said it, but I just, and things just happen at the right time. It's like, it's all just like a part of the like divinity, the divineness, like it's greater than us. And we all operate on our own timeline and need time to get to these points to where we're like,
Yeah.
I'm fucking done.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And I definitely, I feel some of that in my life with some things that I'm holding on to, because I am at the point of, well, it's more of like, I got to have something in place first.
Yes.
But I also have the mental fuckery where it's like, or is that the are we had an excuse, or are we really playing it safe? And can I go full woo woo and say, if I make the move, the good will come? Or is that just irresponsible? Because sometimes it really is just irresponsible. So
There's so many things that play a role in all of these day-to-day choices that we make, especially grandiose ones that have to do with a job or a partnership or you fucking name it. Or an addiction, or there's just so many things we could put it under.
I just know there's something sucking the fucking life out of me again, and so I know that I can't wait too long. So either that thing has to come and I have to see the light, or I just have to make the move anyways and hope the universe provides. But I know where I'm at my limit, because I've gone through this before, that it'll happen much sooner than it did. You live and you learn, and it's like you'll go through, I do think we go through the same lessons, but again, each time maybe they get a little shorter. you don't have to learn them as hard. It's like the fall wasn't as hard as the first time because you knew it was coming, but you still took the chance or whatever. Like, kind of cliche we can plug in because we're good at that, but but it's like, yeah, I know now when I'm feeling the things, and I'm like, God, I gotta cut the cord before it's too late and starts to infect other things. But
areas, and then also take you down and kill you, because that's the trajectory I was heading for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you start to feel things in your bones, and it gets easier to make the risks or make the changes and take the leaps. But also, like, sometimes you gotta really think, like, is this totally reckless, or
yes,
But yeah, so anyways, I'm so happy for you being in the place you're at, recognizing what you deserve and like living in that, and being with someone that you can talk with, and not that you've
Oh,
ever been afraid to like speak your mind, but I feel like what you've
yeah.
gone through in the last couple years, like you just have a different sense of like what you really like, I guess asking for what you need and knowing that that person will kind of respect it and listen, so it's easier to ask for it when you know that it's going to be received instead of like speaking to the void. So
Or like acknowledging what it is. I think
yeah.
that was my thing, was like the acknowledgement of it or knowing. But yeah, like last night or this morning, actually, before he left for work, we got to have a little conversation because we've been talking about stuff, and I'm like, I need you to listen to me because I feel like you haven't been listening to me. And he was like, yeah, same with you. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay. So, and like we met in this grief recovery course where it was like ears on, mouth off. And you just give the other person like a full half an hour to just talk. And we haven't been doing that for each other. And so it's just a good reminder to revisit these things that we know and that we've learned before, and to put them back into practice when they start schlepping away from us.
Well, that's what it all is, a practice. And I recently had a situation like that with Andrew where he was kind of saying something and I was just straight up like, I don't like when you say that because it makes me feel this way. And like
Yep.
you're projecting something onto me that you've never gone through yourself, kind of telling me I should do something when it's something you've never looked at and like done yourself. So it's not fair for you to tell me to do it when you don't have that experience either. So it just doesn't make me feel good. And yeah, it's just unfair for you to say that to me. And like, because we just have different situations, different life situations and things, that it's like you can't tell me what I should do. And you're telling me something I should do that you've never experienced. Like, so it's like, how do you know
You're
why
said
do
and
I
done.
have to do that? Why do I have to
Yep.
be the one to do it and not you? And anyways, I was a little worried of how he'd receive it, if it would feel like aggressive and kind of start like a fight or something, but he listened
That's
and we just kind of sat there and then continued to eat dinner and like moved
good
on.
job.
So it seemed to me like he received it. He at least received it in some way much better than in our past of opening a can of worms that could have ruined the entire night or next day of like arguing about something. I felt like he, like I said, really listened. Whether he agrees with me or not is one thing, but he didn't respond. And sometimes you need that, and I need to work on that too. I'm glad that Sam said that to you, of like, I feel like you've been the same, because I need to also work on giving him the space to talk and let things
Everyone. I need
out.
to be a
So
bigger listener.
yeah,
Period.
same. And I honestly think this podcast has helped a lot, especially when we have guests. Like, we banter and we can banter differently, and like, we get excited and jump in and agree with each other, interrupt or whatever. But I think as we've grown in this podcast and having guests, it has taught us so much to like listen
Actively
and like
listen.
sit there, so wanting to say things so bad, but
Yes.
like
Yeah.
really allowing the space for the person to tell a story, because that's what the point is them and not us. And um we're just excitable people, so it's hard to not jump in and say
Totally.
yes, 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 like, or
Especially when we're talking to so many fucking awesome women who are doing so many cool things. And I will say a big thing that has helped me with that is like having a notepad on the side and being
mm-hmm,
like, oh my God, write down this thing that I want to ask, or like
mm-hmm,
take this note on this like point that
same.
they said. Like, it's just so hard to be in the moment and like have all these feelings and these active conversations, but also have respect and hold space and listen. It's just really hard. It's really
Well,
hard.
obviously, like, because we're talkers, look at us, sorry everyone out there, we're going on 121 here,
Well,
because
we had a lot to talk about,
yeah,
girl.
and it can just keep going
A
and
lot
going, and it
happening.
stems into this over here and this over there, and we still, don't cover the things that we wanted to talk about and whatever. I think it's fine and great, because I also think that yeah, I'm getting fucking just woo. I've always had a big woo part of me, but what comes out on this podcast, I think, is meant to come out, and the conversations happen when they're supposed to, because I just truly believe that the people listening from end to end are the people who need to hear it. I used to force myself through podcasts, like a movie or book or something, like, well, I will not end it. I have to hear it all. But I'm like, no, if it's not serving me, it's not serving me. I turn it off. And that's how most people operate in this world. And I said, if you made it end to end, it was for a fucking reason. You needed it.
Yep.
And thank you all who
It-
did make it end to end.
Yes. And it was meant to find you too.
Yeah, 100%. So with that, everybody out there, thank you if you made it end to end, and keep doing the thing. Take the scary risks, but also know that, like, yeah,
Do the
gotta-
scary things.
just find yourself, look deep inward, and you know, you'll know when the time is right for you to make the choice, to take the leap, to do the thing. Say more yeses, say more nos, whatever you need. I've got nos. I need to say no more over here and yes more over here. And you put it perfectly, because I had this thought in my head too. I wish I could remember exactly what was going through my mind. I can't remember if it was in response to someone or my own thoughts, but it was that two things can exist at the same time. It's so true, and we need to remember that about ourselves often, because I think a lot of us are kind of feel contradictive in our own thoughts and feelings, but
In our own existence.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you everybody out there. Have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever day it is, whatever time of day it is. Hopefully you get to enjoy the outside in some capacity, and have a moment to disconnect.
Very important. Goals for the week, month,
Yes. All right.
year,
Bye, everybody.
rest of our lives.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and would do us a huge favor, since we don't have any sponsors or anything like that, and would rate and review us on whatever platform it is you use, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, whatever it is. And if you're listening and downloading just through the website, tearingituppodcast.com, leave comments. We'll definitely engage back with you. And on social media right now, we're just on Instagram. Tearing It Up Podcast is the handle. Like the post, share the post, comment on the post, whatever it is you got. Show us your love so we just stay relevant and show up in the rankings at all. So again, rate and review, please. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.